Thanks for joining us from our studios in Tel Aviv. Coming up in today's newscast, Israel gets a diplomatic boost from Germany. An Israeli startup turns your trash into liquid gold, and another major historical discovery is made in Jerusalem. I'm Natasha Kirchuk here with the latest news. Looks like Israel has received a diplomatic boost from Germany's leader. Chancellor Angela Merkel has voiced her agreement with the Israeli Prime Minister and says it's not the right time for a two-state solution. Merkel claims the current climate in the Middle East won't allow for two states. Instead, she's advocating for small steps towards reconciliation and is condemning the terrorism that Israel has had to endure. The German leader's comments match the sentiments of the Israeli Prime Minister, who hailed her statements during a joint press conference in Berlin.
So, my good friend Angela, once again, thank you for your hospitality and your welcome, and especially your friendship. Thank you. Thank you for your leadership.
Netanyahu says he's glad that the world is finally coming to terms with the reality of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and claims a strong Israeli state is necessary for the world.
So the world has changed in the course of these deliberations. And I think one thing has not changed. It is the fact that in the midst of this terrific storm, in the midst of this global turbulence, there is one country in the Middle East that maintains not only an advanced society, a democratic society, an innovative society, but a society that maintains the very values that you here in Europe and you in Germany hold dear. We defend ourselves. There's no question about that. But in so doing, we defend also your values. And by being where we are, in the center of the Middle East, by defending our flanks, by helping defend the neighborhood, we are preventing the addition of as many as 100 million more people to the tragedy and turbulence of militant Islam.
Angela Merkel also made it clear that Germany's not planning to normalize its ties with Iran until Tehran openly recognizes Israel's right to exist.
Wir haben heute über auch die Frage des Iran natürlich gesprochen und auch trotz unterschiedlicher Bewertung des Abkommens mit dem Iran über das iranische Nuklearabkommen haben wir sehr deutlich gemacht seitens der Bundesregierung, wenn ich wir sage, dann waren das alle die Koalition tragenden Parteien, dass es normale freundschaftliche Beziehung zu Iran nicht geben kann, solange das Existenzrecht Israels vom Iran.
The U.S. ambassador to the UN is in Israel, and she's definitely keeping busy. Samantha Power is meeting with Palestinian and Israeli officials, and it looks like President Rivlin is already asking her for a favor. ILTV reporter Denise Wood has more on the story.
The Israeli president is calling on Powers to talk with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and tell him that direct negotiations are the only way to solve the conflict.
Transfer a message once again to President Abbas, saying to him that he has to understand that the conflict, which is a tragedy between the two people, can be solved only by direct negotiation. No solution can be imposed on each side or on both sides. We have to negotiate and to come to understanding.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also told Powers there's a direct connection between incitement in Palestinian schools and media and the recent wave of terror. Powers has spoken out in favor of a two-state solution, and she says she hopes to see an official state of Palestine while she's stationed at the UN. But Powers doesn't think the United Nations is blameless in the peace process and slammed the UN for its disproportionate criticism of Israel.
I will also have the opportunity, in a great coincidence of timing, to meet with model UN Israelis from around the country who are gathered for a conference and to talk a little bit about the flawed but indispensable institution where I get to serve. Flawed, not least, of course, because of the way Israel is singled out and has been consistently over such a long period of time, but that's an issue on which we've actually made significant progress, and I'm not sure how well known it is, the strides that we've made to see that Israel is treated at the UN like every other nation.
Meanwhile, the leader of the Hezbollah is making new threats against Israel. And this time he's warning about new plans to bomb a chemical facility in Haifa. Hassan Nasrallah says that the terror group isn't currently seeking a war against Israel, but that Hezbollah could defeat the Jewish state by targeting its ammonia storage tanks. The terror leader claims that attacking the plant could cause an explosion similar to a nuclear bomb and kill thousands of Israelis. Israel is taking Nasrallah seriously. The Israeli Environmental Protection Minister has already ordered the ammonia storage facility to be moved to the Negev desert, just hours after the Hezbollah leader's explicit threats. Times are changing in the Middle East, and it looks like Israel's neighbors are starting to acknowledge their ties to the Jewish state. Egypt and Israel have been allies for years, but Egyptian schools are just now beginning to teach children about making peace with the Holy Land. For the first time ever, Egyptian schools will teach their students about the country's 1979 peace treaty with Israel. A new school book is being distributed that includes a chapter about the Camp David Accords, and reportedly doesn't cast Israel in a negative light. It even includes verbatim language from the peace accords and passages about Israel and Egypt ending their state of war and respecting each other's sovereignty. The new material seems to emphasize making peace in the Middle East, and it praises former Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and former Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin for winning the Nobel Peace Prize. The new school book will be used to teach Egyptian 9th graders, and it's part of an overall push by the Egyptian Education Ministry to change school curriculum. Imagine being able to turn your trash into gold. I know that sounds far-fetched, but it turns out an Israeli startup has figured out how to convert your kitchen waste into something valuable. Check it out.
We know what you're thinking. You hear the music, see these amazing places on Earth, and you think we're going to talk about another big idea that might or might not happen to save the planet. Well, no. We are here to share with you something practical that we have actually built to bring what people say for years is the future to right now. Food waste and declining energy sources are major environmental hazards. Biogas is the solution. It's a natural process in which organic waste is converted into cooking gas, a cycle of in-house energy, and it runs with no electricity. Your leftovers provide you 2 to 3 hours of energy a day. Any kitchen leftovers, including meat and dairy, work, even your pet's litter. Just toss it all inside home biogas, and the bacteria in the digester will decompose the organic material and release biogas. As a byproduct of the digestion, home biogas even generates an incredible plant fertilizer. You are in charge of creating your own clean, renewable energy. Energy that you can trust. Let's create a better future for our next generations.
Lior Magal joins us from Home Biogas with more. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much, Natasha, for having me.
So this sounds like science fiction. Can you tell us more about how home biogas works?
Yes, absolutely. Well, biogas has been here for ages. It's a simple biological process where organic material is decomposed and turns into gas. And there's a byproduct that is a liquid fertilizer. What we did is simply utilized this old natural way to build an accessible system for everyone to use. We build a system that is comes in a box. It's very easy to build yourself. It's actually the first do-it-yourself biogas kit, and you can build it anywhere. You know.
So how did you come up with this idea?
It's been years that the 3 founders of the company have been researching and studying this process, during which they've built many different types of systems in many sizes to eventually realize one way to actually build a system that is effective. Because there are some other biogas systems, but none of them is really turned to be really working durable for a long time and actually effective. We can use it on a regular basis, where it's really easy to use, easy to maintain. It's not a headache. It's not like you have to change your life. Every person nowadays throws out the garbage. So instead of doing that, you do the same thing, but into the home biogas system, and it is naturally turning your waste into clean cooking gas. There's there's a great eco-cycle to the system where you eat your food, your waste goes into the system, and you get clean cooking gas and liquid fertilizer. The liquid fertilizer helps you grow more food, and the gas to cook it. And then every leftovers are more waste that goes into this beautiful cycle of life, we call it.
So, how accessible is this product? Can anybody buy it? Can they install it in their house by themselves?
Absolutely. It is very easy to install. It comes in a box, and it takes about an hour or two to install. Everybody can do that. All you need is a garden. It's not suitable for apartments. It works great with a garden because also the liquid fertilizer is a great companion for compost and for the plants.
For growing plants.
Exactly. So you need a garden. You order it. You can order it online on homebiogas.com and get it. Actually, the first shipping of this new model of 2016 is coming out May 1st. And so now there's a pre-order. There's a pre-order of a couple of months, but once we get to May, you'll be able to just order, and within days, anywhere in the world, actually get the system, set it up, and become a purveyor of your own energy, energy you can trust.
So talking about the fact that you can get this anywhere in the world, I understand that you've actually been working with other countries to kind of get this system out internationally.
Absolutely.
Tell me about that.
Absolutely. We've been very lucky to participate in some international projects so far. In Uganda, we worked with the Ministry of the Environment here in Israel, installing several tens of systems to the Bedouin communities down in the Negev. And also we worked with the Paris Center for Peace, along with the Arava Center and the USAID, where we actually participated in this project that brought in Israeli and Palestinian youth to install systems together in the Palestinian authorities. That was a really a great success and a great bring together kind of effort. We met actually Ban Ki-moon last year when he visited Israel. We were lucky to meet him and present him the system. Was very impressed, and we're hoping to keep this relationship going because the UN has long-term goals with sustainability, and we want to be a part of it.
Developing countries and
absolutely, in developing countries. I mean, our calling is very, very powerful in developing countries where indoor air pollution is really killing millions. Actually, 4.3 million women and children are dying each and every year from indoor air pollution. And in these places, there's no lack of waste. We just need to find a way to bring the system to the people that need it the most, specifically in those communities, and uplift their way of life and give them this value. So this is our goal, absolutely.
Well, this is huge what you guys are doing. It's an amazing product, and it's really changing the world so far. So congratulations. And
thank you.
Excited to see what you guys do in the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Pop sensation Lady Gaga is known for breaking barriers, and this time she's doing it with the help of Israeli technology. One Israeli company played a surprising role in Gaga's tribute to David Bowie at the Grammys. You'll have to see it to believe it. ILTV's Denise Wood has more on the story.
Singing superstar Lady Gaga has a reputation for mind-blowing performances, and her tribute to David Bowie was no exception. Gaga's show used robotics, advanced processors, and audio and video technology, all of which was provided by Intel. Gaga even changed her appearance during the show to be a female version of David Bowie's character, Ziggy Stardust. The catch? She did it using Israeli 3D technology. Intel says it used the technology to give Gaga digital makeup, letting her instantly change her appearance on stage. Gaga sang, danced, and moved around on the stage, all with 3D makeup on her face. Intel says the technology is called RealSense, and it was developed in Haifa. Gaga had only good things to say about the technology, claiming that her partnership with Intel is different than anything she's ever done before.
Another major archaeological discovery has been made in Jerusalem, proving that humans have been living in the holy city for longer than we actually thought. The Israeli Antiquities Authority has found stone houses and artifacts dating back 7,000 years, and their discovery happens to be the oldest known remains of human habitation in Jerusalem. The discovery was made in the course of a salvation excavation just ahead of the construction of a new road in North Jerusalem. Until now, it's been widely assumed that the Jerusalem area has been inhabited for around 4,000 or 5,000 years. The homes lurking just a meter below the surface of the ground prove there was human life in an earlier era of history, and boast walls as high as 5 stones. Within them, archaeologists have found gemstone beads, pottery sherds, and flint tools from the early Chalcolithic era, around 5000 BCE. The tools give special insight into what prehistoric locals were up to 7,000 years ago, from harvesting cereal crops to building homes and making jewelry. But no matter how long ago the ancient Jerusalem settlement was built, the house's various structures indicate that they had been in use for centuries. And now for our Hebrew word of the day. This is an important one, so listen closely. Today's word is sababa, which is Hebrew slang for cool. You can answer most questions in Hebrew with the word sababa, just make sure you watch your tone. How's the food? Sababa. How's my haircut? Sababa. How are you? Sababa. Israelis also like to use the word to encourage each other to take things in stride when they're not going as planned. In the army, one of the most popular phrases is "Kach et habasa besababa." In other words, keep your cool and don't yell back at your commander. Sababa is almost like an international representation of Israel because it's so commonly used by Israeli travelers. But here's the funny thing, the word is actually derived from the Arabic slang sababa, which means great or excellent. Either way, the next time you meet an Israeli and want to sound cool, make sure to let them know that you think they're sababa. Let's go ahead and take a look at the weather forecast. If I'm going to be honest, it was a pretty big struggle to work in the office today since it's 83 degrees outside and the sun is shining. Thursday should also be warm with a high of 77 degrees, but the skies will be partly cloudy. The sun should come back out again on Friday and the temperature will stay the same. All right, everybody, that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.9 shekels to the American dollar. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at ILTV.tv, and don't forget to check out our evening update every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tonight.